everybody. Welcome to Brunch, the daily morning show where we talk about the latest topics in pop culture. I'm Brittany Jones-Cooper.
I'm Shannon Coffey.
I'm Allie Colbert.
And I'm Lucas Tim. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about how some celebrities just can't deal with criticism, why it's important to keep a close network of casual friendships, and how actor Chris Evans surprises former classmates. Plus, financial expert and New York Times best-selling author David Bach joins the table to discuss his new book, The Latte Factor. But first, Urban Space has just started serving breakfast. We're enjoying chicken biscuits and egg wraps from the famous Bob White counter, available only at Urban Space 570 Lex. Guys, look at this delicious food. Look at that chicken biscuit, homemade
like
buttermilk biscuit. Oh, oh God. But this is like, I'm so excited that we finally have breakfast food on Brunch.
We do.
Yeah.
Let's give it a
love
go.
This.
Ooh, it's so crispy. You can tell from just looking at it.
And you know, they cater too, so I don't know, have an event for them to cater, because I may just ask them to cater my life.
my
I don't
God.
know, but.
I was like hoping, I was like, you know what would make this better? Bacon, but there is bacon in it. It's bacon and hash browns together, guys.
Very good.
Sorry you have to watch us eat. We're like torturing you, but.
So good.
Well,
Hi,
guys,
haters. Sorry.
well, guys, no later than one day after Adele celebrated her 31st birthday, the singer teased a new record. In an Instagram post after her recent divorce, she wrote to her fans saying, "Bunch of fucking savages, 30 will be a drum and bass record to spite you."
Oh, that's a perfect response.
I mean, it does suck because everyone knows, like, Adele has that, like, music that, like, makes you so sad, but you can't stop singing.
I know, and like her heartbreak is gonna make this album so amazing, but also it's like her real life, and that sucks that she's going through something so painful.
Yeah.
So I think that's what she was like biting back
I mean,
to her fans.
I'm sad, divorce is sad, but I'm happy for me. Because
Right,
you know why?
that's-
Her music's, she makes music when she's heartbroken. And really good. I'm kidding. I mean,
No, but like someone like you was written
Yeah.
about like was trying to find somebody like this person you just broke up with, and like that was through her heartbreak.
yeah, and she's a tremendous talent. I mean, I love 25 so much. When We Were Young is such one of my
You're
all-time
listening
favorites.
to that this morning.
Yeah.
Just epic Adele songs. I remember she performed on SNL, just watching her being, this is so incredible. I think watching a super famous artist kind of be honest with what's going on in her life, and we're gonna get to see
A divorce anthem.
a divorce
Yeah.
anthem, how she's reacting to it.
I think it's amazing for her as an artist. She's always been so vulnerable, and when she's talking about this album, she's talking about how this next year of her life, turning 31, that she's gonna focus on herself. And self-love has been something we've seen more and more artists speak out about recently, and I think this will be a fresh take, like a new Adele, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, does Adele have an album 19?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she released it when she was 19.
Yeah.
No, it's
Well,
about the ages of where she was when she was writing it
yeah.
and
But it's
recording
not, so she was writing it and recording it when she was 19.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like Chasing Pavements is
Yes.
on that album.
But how is she 31 now?
it. So,
Because that's time.
But that was 11 years ago?
Yeah.
no, well, no,
don't
so it doesn't
understand. Like,
all
what's going
coincide with the
on?
age. So she released 19 when let's say she was like 21, 21. She released 21 when she was like 23.
Yeah.
So it's after the fact.
Yeah.
So it's at the age
About
of when
that
she
age.
recorded it.
I guess I just feel like it's been a long time.
Well, it's been a long time because she had a lot
I don't know. I'm not great with math, but I feel like it's been a while.
No, you were right. It has been a while. So good. I think you did a lot of investigation right there.
But isn't it a little misleading?
It's a little misleading, but I think it's because it's her shtick, but also she's got a lot of vocal issues, and she went on tour, and she basically said she probably will never go on tour again,
Yeah.
which is really, really sad. And it was in 2016 when she went on tour, so she's taking a long break to recover her voice.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
Are
it's
you
been
caught
a
up,
while.
Allie? You
yeah,
good?
yeah.
Okay.
I think I get it. I'm sorry. I just started thinking about when Lucas said procedural. And
That's pretty much the only thing I ever think about when I'm on the show is pussy drool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the theme of Bill Brunch. Also, I want to do the shout out to that meme she posted. I think
Yes.
it's really funny when people, I guess, kind of poke fun at themselves, but also Adele, like,
self-deprecating humor.
just something humor. And I think she's actually really funny. Give you like carpool karaoke or whatever.
Oh, that carpool karaoke.
is the best
Have you guys
one.
seen her carpool karaoke? It's
the best one.
I think it might be the best one ever. When she starts rapping Nicki Minaj,
Yeah.
it is a revelation, and I hope her new album has a collaboration with Nicki Minaj for that reason.
It's so funny that we like to see singers do the carpool karaoke.
Right.
Like, why do we like that? Like, I get that it's fun to watch, but like, what is it about this? And like, Jimmy Fallon, like his games of like guests spitting on each other, we're just like, this is what we want.
I think with carpool karaoke, it's one, hearing them sing their own songs, like we sing them in our car, but it
Yeah.
sounds so much better.
Yeah.
And then two, watching them fan out about other artists.
Right.
Like when Sam Smith did it, and then they brought in the, help me out. Come on, baby, I'm worried.
Spice Girls.
No, you
Fifth
know.
Harmony?
Yes,
Fifth
thank you.
Harmony.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was like-
Fifth Harmony, and he
I was
like
like,
geeked
Spice
out, and then he was singing with them. I'm like, we get to see them as fans also.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
But it's not always better. I mean, God love Britney, but she just is like me. When her music comes on, I turn it really loud and I mouth it.
Yeah.
So it's not always singing. Or Madonna had her butt outside the window, which again, I also do when a Madonna song
All
comes
the
on.
time.
So it is like you're seeing yourself in there. In
Yeah,
them.
absolutely. Well, moving on, it's no secret that pop stars and comedians are subject to an overwhelming amount of criticism. But now they're clapping back. From Olivia Munn to SNL's Colin Jost and Michael Che, celebs are taking to social media to defend themselves against critics. But a new BuzzFeed article questions this dynamic, asking, when do celebrities get so bad at taking criticism?
Yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, I really wonder the perspective of a lot of these famous people who are so offended by like journalists kind of like taking a stab at them.
Yeah.
Particularly people that are so big and like Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, these kind of like pop star giants who it's like, even if you do get criticism, does it really hurt you that much? Like your career.
Oh.
Emotionally, I know it hurts.
Yeah.
But like one person, I know there's something cited where like Nicki Minaj was attacked by this like lightly criticized
Right.
by a random journalist, like not a famous writer.
Right.
She then like DM'd this journalist on Twitter, and then all of her fans came after
Right.
the
That
writer.
person.
Like, how is that fair at all?
Well, it's not fair. I mean, and that's the thing. I think it's like this social media culture is taking it too far, and these celebrities are getting too worked up about one negative criticism.
Right.
Even Lizzo saying, when she got one negative review, saying that anyone who doesn't make music shouldn't write reviews. I think that's wrong, and I think that's ridiculous, and she backtracked that. Olivia Munn criticizing these two fashion bloggers and comparing them to the Me Too movement, the Me Too abusers, is ridiculous and wrong, and she backtracked as well. I think it's almost like it's like a reverse Trump, or kind of like this whole fake news thing, and I think it's like hey, we've all been trolled. It's not a good feeling, but there's a difference between troll and criticism, and
Totally.
people are allowed to be experts, and these celebrities using their platforms to target people is wrong. And Ariana Grande just referring to some E-News person as like, them blogs, like, get over yourself. It was like, it's one person who didn't like the performance.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it's because they're kind of at a breaking moment, though. I think because of the internet, everyone has an opinion, everyone has a fucking blog, everyone thinks they're a journalist now. And because they are going through and reading all those people, I feel like when someone actually has somewhat of any credibility, they attack that person because they're like, you too? How dare you? I'm already dealing with all these idiot trolls in a basement somewhere.
Right.
Now I have to deal with you. So I understand that like it's not the same relationship that artists and critics used to have, where it used to be more like, okay, you're a critic, you also have your own art
Right.
form. Now it feels like everyone's a critic, and I think that's why these celebrities aren't taking it well.
I think
Absolutely.
that's so true.
And I think it's fair
That's right.
when critics are actually analyzing the body of work. I don't think it's cool when then artists are attacked for their style or their body,
Right.
or I think that's when it really goes over the line. Like
Yeah.
Olivia Munn gets attacked often about her appearance and her clothes, and I think that's messed up, and I don't think that, I mean, I don't support that. But if you're creating an album, then you
Right.
have to be open to criticism, because everybody's not gonna like it, and you just have to, that's par for the course.
So I mean, I think it's kind of what both you guys just said. So maybe it's taking, like, they're so tired of getting trolled by these random people with their body, their
Yeah.
image, their voice, their this. So when one
They're
critic
pushed.
establishes something that's actually maybe credible, a review, they get so mad. I mean, the one that kind of, Michael Che went off on this Uproxx writer who wrote this article essentially examining why Colin Jost, who is one of the head writers of SNL and the co-host of Weekend Update, is so disliked. And I read the article, and he doesn't even say he hates Colin Jost.
Yeah.
More looking at like, why does society right now, why is Colin Jost so disliked? Is it because he unfairly or fairly the epitome of a white man who achieved greatness? I don't know. That's for people to look at. But Michael Che went after him, accusing him of giving dogs blowjobs, saying that he's an awful person. Like it went.
Sounds like Michael Che.
It sounds like Michael Che, and I like Michael Che. I like Colin Jost, but like it was a lot. It was too much.
They're fine.
And I like dogs.
Yeah.
I like dogs. I like dogs too. So I like everyone. Hey.
I mean, I guess the real question is like, should we be giving dogs blowjobs? I think maybe not,
I'm
but
with you.
Michael
I think
Che
no.
maybe wants us to think about it.
that is actually the point he was trying to make.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I don't think it's a good idea.
No, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I heard dog dicks are
Sorry,
cuter
we're gonna
than
have to split the
beer.
check on this one.
Yeah. Tune in tomorrow. We split the check. Dog blowjobs.
I think it might be a good
Good
idea.
or
so-
bad? Allison says yes. In other news, a New York Times article dives into the reasons why you need a network of low-stakes casual friendships in your life to help fulfill happiness. Let's talk about it. Ooh,
Yeah.
low stakes casual friendships.
It's good to just have disposables in your life.
Yeah.
You kind of just want like a handful of people who like you could trash, flake on.
You know,
That you need if you're gonna be up top, you need something to sort of step on.
Exactly. You need people to use and abuse and get rid of. I mean,
Yeah.
how does a ladder work? You have to climb up. Yeah. I think it's funny because last week we did talk about how you need few great friendships,
Yeah.
and this is saying the exact opposite.
No, but
It's
No,
a
I think
mix
it's
of
the
both.
same
I don't think
point.
it's the opposite at all. I think we said it's important to have
Right.
those meaningful relationships, but at the same time, having a network of low stakes friendships, the two aren't mutually
Yeah.
exclusive.
Uh-huh.
That sort of, I think you misunderstood this article.
Because
Okay, maybe I
having a
did.
small group of close friends, those people there's a lot of emotional energy that's exchanged, and that can be exhausting. Like I can only really emotionally handle like a small group of
But
friends.
you just welcomed a new friend into the fold,
I
Brittany.
did, and I'm giving emotions to her, and I'm sharing.
Right.
But then I do have a lot of low stakes friends. For instance, my neighbor Eddie. He's lived on my street his entire life. He's always out in the morning, and he's like walking his dog in the evening. And I talked to him at both of those times. We had this friendly exchange. It makes me feel good. It's really positive.
I don't
But we're
think-
not like hanging out with each other on the weekend.
Yeah, I don't even know if that qualifies though as a low stakes friendship.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, because did you read the piece?
It said neighbors.
It's the neighbors too.
Neighbors qualify as it's the lowest tier. The low stakes friendships are even a step above that.
Okay.
These are the people that sort of make up your social circle, that make you feel like you're a part of a community. So that's our Eddies.
Yeah.
That's our doormen. Those are the postal workers. This is everyone
Yeah.
we see on our route. And then just slightly above that is kind of those just the dumb sluts in our lives.
The dumb slut.
We hang out with them on a Friday. We don't hear from them till next month.
The
You know what I mean?
maybe like the former work friend is like a better, like you used to work together, now you see each other
Yeah.
casually.
Exactly.
every
Unless
once
you
in
would
a
hit
while.
up Eddie to go out with him.
I mean,
I might hang out with Eddie. Sometimes he dresses really nice.
Oh,
I feel like he
yeah.
does it for me.
I totally misunderstood this article. And maybe it was because like I was thinking about like the photos that we're throwing up, which is like
Right.
baristas and hairdressers. I thought they were people that like you use throughout the day for like small, nice
maybe I'm
moments
wrong.
and then like get rid of them. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I love your hair, barista. All right, now you're fucking dead to me as soon as I walk out this door.
Wow.
And it, on a step further, they said those people usually give you recommendations. So your barista might be like,
Oh.
oh, you should go to my nail salon.
Right.
And then that like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it, like they widen your circle
The-
that way.
the article
You're
does.
right. I think, you know what? I think we're all right.
We're all-
it's not
Yeah.
black and white. It's
not black and white.
This is Bill
Yeah.
Brunch.
Because the
I
ar-
think everyone in the audience is a low stake friend.
Yeah,
right?
we all become low stake
I'm
friends.
just using you guys for
I
your
need
little
friends.
smiles right
I
now,
need
and then I
friends.
dip out.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
My new friend.
I know, this
Yeah.
feels like a
See,
one-way
showbiz.
relationship.
Almost less than a low stake friend, because I don't listen to you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, when they don't laugh, I'm like, fucking loser.
Right.
yeah.
Like right now when they were like, she's attacking us.
No, they stare back.
It's all fun and games,
Deer
sorry.
in headlights.
Well, actor Chris Evans recently channeled Captain America and went back in time. The actor took a stroll through memory lane and attended his 20-year high school reunion. The Endgame star could be seen mingling with former classmates who couldn't help but grab a selfie with him. This is cool because I love high school reunions. I had,
What?
I had my
Of course you do.
5-year one a couple years ago. Loved it. Threw a party afterwards.
Wow.
So I'm glad he went back to see his old friends, and by that I mean he went back to say I'm really famous now.
Right.
Look
Yeah,
at me now.
what is he going back for? Like, I think it would be fun for him, but at the same time, like, everyone would just be harassing him.
That's what it sounded like.
Exactly
Everybody
it.
was taking
And
photos
also,
with him.
if I were in his shoes, I would be so quick to be like, oh, you want a photo. You who are mean to me.
Right.
You, Madison. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that would be so hard to not do.
Oh yeah, of course. Or do you go back? I mean, if you're Chris Evans, you're in the most successful movie of all time. You're worth millions and millions of dollars. You're Captain America. I'm sure you're going back to look some person now and be like, oh yeah, remember that? Oh, you want a picture now? What are you, a plumber now? Look at me, look at me, look at me.
Or maybe he's
Sorry.
just going back to get laid. I mean, he really could pick and choose.
Yeah, I did read an
That is
article
true.
recently
I mean,
that
we could just-
Chris Evans is looking for a wife. My
Yeah.
mom sent it to me, and she was like, FYI. I
FYI.
was like, yeah.
Shoot your shot.
Let's just find out where he's located, I guess.
Right.
Like, it's not that easy to join the list of people, but I guess I should have just gone to his high school reunion.
Yeah.
Right, but
Wait,
maybe
sir,
he's
can
been
I
in
just-
Hollywood and he's looking for a wife and he's like, let me go back to my roots.
Well,
Wait,
yeah.
you know who you need to get in contact with if you want to find Chris Evans? The MJ kid's mom. Because you remember when she flew to America? And she was able to like track down Michael Jackson. in,
Jimmy's
like, 5
mom?
minutes?
Yeah.
Jimmy's mom. I'm sorry, that was the most unbelievable thing.
Yeah, that was really bizarre.
Random reference.
Because
I
she
like that
flew
you're
to
thinking
Ameri-
outside the box.
She flew to America and she was like, I don't know how I'm gonna find Michael Jackson, and just like called around and located Michael.
It was also like the early 90s. I think it was a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
A lot easier, a lot harder. No social, no. You think?
I know, we can just DM him. But
Yeah.
can we DM him as a show and be
Yeah.
like, hey.
We all want to date you,
Just
Chris.
so you know.
Just so you know, I mean, if you've seen Avengers, spoiler alert, his ass has been labeled America's
Yeah.
ass.
Oh, do they show it?
No, they don't show it.
Yeah, they
but
show it. There's
the
a
idea of
scene
it.
where it's being spread open
I was
by
maybe
Thanos.
gonna go see Avengers.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Yeah,
Like
Thanos is
Thanos?
like, no, Thanos
Thanos-
is the villain.
Yeah.
He has his crazy little glove
Yeah.
and he's
Thanos?
spreading Chris Evans' butt,
But-
Captain America, and he's like, I'm gonna teach you to try to save people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's insane.
It's the whole point of the Infinity Stone.
Right?
See,
Avenger
you know,
fans,
This
right?
didn't happen.
Yes, it did.
No,
So,
it did.
yes,
It
'cause
did.
the
And then they had to go back in time
the
to
Infinity
undo
Stones,
the-
they undo the
okay.
fist things.
Yeah.
The whole story is just
horrible.
that. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And the president gets involved in the fist. That movie was so powerful. It's
I
such
loved
a
it.
That's why it made so
conceptual
much
piece.
money.
That's why it made
really-
so much
Why it
money.
made
So
so
good.
much
And
money.
Chris Evans, what a great actor. You could see it all happening in his eyes. Really, there was just a close-up of his eyes,
Yeah.
and you knew what was happening. I honestly love this man, and I think it's really cool that he went to his high school reunion. And I think it just shows that he's a humble dude. You know, like Avengers was out, and he was like, I'm gonna go talk to these people who mean nothing to me right
Right.
now.
I also love that they pointed out that he just wrote Chris on his name tag. I love
Right.
that little detail in the article. He's like, you know my last name.
But
Well-
that's his name. I
Yeah,
feel
but he
like
didn't do
that's
Chris
like,
Evans.
Oh, I didn't think that was weird. I thought
Yeah.
that was like normal. Don't you? Oh, I guess you would.
You had a reunion, you would put your first and last name because a lot of people get married,
Really?
change their names. Yeah, it's like
Oh.
a thing, and you put like your
I'm not
maiden
putting my
name.
last name.
no.
Okay, then. Don't.
Yeah. I'm like, we went to high
No
school
one knows
together. If
you,
you need
girl.
my last name, that's pretty bad.
But some people look really different.
Also,
Right.
there's probably a bunch of.
But wait, look at that one
Yeah.
woman though. I do love that one
was
woman who
just
couldn't
in
even
awe.
like look at the camera. Was like, oh my god.
Can we see
I'm
her
thinking
again?
about this later with my husband.
What do you think he was like in high school? Do you
Oh,
think he was
wow.
hot?
I think he was okay.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't we find out he was kind of like a theater?
A theater,
kid?
right?
Yeah,
He,
he
like,
liked
didn't really play
theater.
sports.
Probably a nice
Yeah.
guy. Well, he's
So this might have been like a huge redeeming moment for him if he was
Right.
like not that.
And these were the
popular.
popular girls.
Who-
wow.
who did-
Look at
wanna-
them.
who wanna
Look at
hook up
them
with a
now
man.
with those necklaces.
Mm-hmm.
I still think, sorry,
Chunky,
that
chunky
necklace is
necklaces.
hideous. She's regretting this right now.
She's like,
She's like, I didn't know I was gonna be on Bill's Brunch.
right.
I'd still say like Chris Evans, it's his personality that makes him hot,
Yeah.
100%. Like
agree.
outside it looks good, but it really is what's inside.
No, he's really smart. And
Yeah.
he's really politically active.
And he's really
woke.
liberal. And
Wow.
Yeah. But also, he's back in Boston right now because he's filming an Apple limited series, which I think we're really
Yeah.
excited about.
yeah.
So I'm excited he's doing like darker pieces to see his acting
Darker
chops.
piece.
Yeah.
Thinking of his butt. Okay. And now it's time for today's guest. David Bach is #1 New York Times bestseller and one of the most recognizable names in personal finance. Today, he's here to discuss his new book, The Latte Factor, which teaches us that you don't have to be rich to live rich. Everyone, please give a warm Brunch welcome to David Bach.
Okay, so good to be here, you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you. Hi, nice to see you.
You want a biscuit?
Hello, everyone. Woo! You know what? I do. I want what's here, but I'm not going to eat one.
Yeah, wait till after.
After,
It's
yeah.
free.
You guys, also, there's a bar in the green room. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, there is.
I tweeted about it before I came out here.
Oh,
We have a
good.
little gin every morning, just a touch.
Just a touch.
I hope you tag
I'll have
us.
that after.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little about your book, The Latte Factor, and sort of your inspiration behind writing it.
Yeah, well, so this is my 13th book.
Wow.
And
Wow.
my first book was for women. It was Smart Women Finish Rich. And we've got 7 million books out. But most people won't read a financial book.
Right.
And most people need it.
Yeah.
So what I really came to realization was like, there's an entire generation of young people that need to learn how to save and invest. And it's, you know, there's 100 million millennials in Generation Y and Generation Z. It's actually the biggest now demographic in our country. Right. And yet you're coming out of school with bigger student loans than ever before, credit card debt bigger than it's ever been. And so a lot of young people are actually kind of like depressed about this. And I wanted to do something about it. So what I decided I would do is I'd write a small little book that you could read in an hour. Literally, as a teenager on up, that would teach you the major lessons that you need to know about money. They're super simple, that should have been taught in school. Everything in this little book should have been taught in school, but my 15-year-old has read this book, and he's all motivated now. And so I know that this is a book that can really empower young people to realize that you're richer than you think, you've got more courage than you know, and small amounts of money can change your life, which is where the Latte Factor comes in.
Yes, and tell us about the plot line, the story of Zoe and Henry.
Yeah, so Zoe Daniels is a 27-year-old millennial living in Brooklyn. She takes the subway every day to work. She works in the Freedom Tower, and she's been here for 6 years. And like many millennials, she came to New York for a dream. And after 6 years of working and making more and more money, she's still living paycheck to paycheck. So one day she comes through the Oculus, and she sees this LCD screen that says, if you don't know where you're going, you might not like where you end up. And she takes the escalator up to the top where she comes out, which is the 9/11 memorial.
Right.
And for the first time in 6 years, she takes in the memorial because she's always rushed to work. And she asks herself, where's she going with her life? And then she walks into her office totally depressed, has lunch with her boss, who's Barbara, and tells Barbara, I can't afford anything. And Barbara, later you'll find out, don't want to give the whole story away, but you find out that Barbara's actually like the millionaire next door, but she's the millionaire down the hallway. And she sends Zoe to mentors. And one of her mentors is Henry, who works at a coffee shop. And Henry starts to teach her these life lessons that $5 a day, if she just start investing it, and she's at a coffee shop. If you didn't spend your money on the latte and you invested it, you could be a millionaire. And that little lesson starts to change her whole life.
Can Barbara just give her some money though?
Then she wouldn't learn a lesson.
That's
and the book would end on page 15.
That's exactly right.
And can you go into the Latte Factor and break it down for us?
Yeah, so the number one reason people don't invest, like specifically like don't use their 401k plans, which is the number one thing you need to do when you get a job. The reason people don't do it is because they say, I can't afford to. So what the Latte Factor is actually not about giving up your coffee. It's a metaphor. You can keep drinking all your coffee, people, because but it's about like, what do you spend money on every day? Is it coffee? Is it bottled water? Is it cigarettes? Is it eating out lunch? Like here in New York, nothing's $5, right? You go out to lunch and it's $15 or more. And so what is something that you can do, that you can change, that you can give up to get up? Because if you can find $10 a day and you invest it in your 401k plan, which is $300 a month, you can be a multi-millionaire by the time you reach retirement. We've got this amazing chart that we'll show here in a second that just shows this, but it's the miracle of compound interest. The key is when you start young, it's super easy. Like my 9-year-old was telling me yesterday, Dad, I told my teacher, Patrick, he needs to read your book because if he starts at 25, he can be worth $1.9 million by the time he reaches retirement. But then I told him, Dad, if he waits till 35, it'll only be worth $689,000. This is my 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I was pretending to be a wizard at first. So the fact that he knows about money,
Well, it's because actually he found out his 15-year-old brother read the book, and he took it, and he's read half of it.
wow.
And he turned to the back of the book, looked at the chart, and memorized it, basically, and he thinks his teacher's 25. His teacher's like 40. So
Teacher's screwed.
So he had me sign the book for his teacher. But these are the things that we should teach in school.
Right.
So that people, because when you know better, you can do better financially. I learned about money really young because my grandmother helped me buy my first stock at age 7. And I went to my first investment class at 9 because my dad was teaching it. So I learned all this stuff at a young age. And the truth is we can teach everyone how to do this. It's not hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And can you teach us about the importance of a side hustle and what would you recommend?
A side hustle.
Yeah.
So a lot of young people, well, actually everybody, quite frankly,
Yeah.
wants to not retire at 65. A lot of people want to retire early. There's this whole thing called the FIRE movement right now, which I love, which is financial independence, retire early. So the point of a side hustle, if you can figure out a way to make an extra $50 a day, or even just $25 a day, but let's use 50, because $50 a day in a side hustle, invested for 20 years at 10%, is $1 million. So a lot of people today in their 20s are like, what can I do to make some extra money, not spend it, and invest it to get free faster? And there's an entire group of people right now obsessed with spending less money, making more, to get free faster. And by the way, a lot of people hate this. They're jealous. They're jealous of these people that are doing that because most people don't get free at 40. And yet you can get yourself on a track to get free at 40. So I think a lot of people will actually end up reading the Latte Factor and go on this fast track to get there quicker. Because when you look at the numbers, it's all about math.
Right.
And I'm a person who knows like nothing about this. So when you're talking, I'm like, okay, numbers, don't get intimidated. And there's so much talk about investing, but I even have friends who've invested and they invest in things and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So like, where would you send someone like me who knows zero about learning how to invest my money, my little dollars?
So here's what I would say to you, because here's what so many young people are doing. They're rushing off and doing things like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency that they know nothing about. That's not even going nowhere. It's going to go away. What you should be doing, because I don't know how, if you guys, are you guys employees here?
Yeah, we're contractors.
You should, well, as an employee, you would be using a 401k plan. So if you've got a 401k plan, literally where you start, here's the magic formula for all of you. Because you're so young, you want to be rich.
Thanks.
It's
I'm actually like older than your son's teacher, but my moisturize.
hardly. It's 1 hour a day of your income. The magic formula to being financially secure for life is you save 1 hour a day of your income. So whatever you earn from, and this is what Zoe learns in the book, you go to work from 9 to 5, you keep the hour from 9 to 10. So if you make $15 an hour, you have to pay yourself first $15 an hour. If you make $25 an hour, you pay yourself first $25 an hour. If you're an independent contractor, which means you're basically self-employed, you go open up a self-employed retirement account. And you take at least 10% off the top, and you put it inside a SEP IRA account. When you do that, you don't pay taxes. It's totally tax deductible. It grows tax-free. That's how you build real wealth. Again, Zoe learns all these lessons in the book. And the way you get that money to grow, you put it in you start with an S&P 500 fund. You put it in the market. And we've got like a little chart in the back of the book that shows rates of return going back to 1926. The stock market has averaged over 10% annually since 1926. Cheapest thing you can do is start with an index fund. And if you don't want to take risk and be in the stock market, you can put it in a boring, balanced mutual fund. And that'll make 7-8% annually. Yeah. Now, none of those rates are guaranteed, but that's what they've done over the last 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Got it.
You'll be kicking off your book launch show in New York at the Oculus in the World Trade Center, which clearly is very significant to the book. It's on May 9th, on tomorrow, right?
It's on May 9th, and anybody who's here in New York, I am giving away, get ready for this, over $10,000 worth of books.
Oh.
I bought 500 books. I'm giving them away starting at noon, so you've got to get there early.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be signing them.
That's great.
So just a way to give back to our community. Thank you.
That's great, because hopefully young people, won't have the money to spend whatever money in the book to get this for free, get this advice.
Yeah, and then for those of you who do have the money, come check us out at thelattefactor.com and go get the book in stores because it's out officially as of yesterday.
And we do have some charts that you brought along to kind of help visually explain what you've been talking about.
Awesome.
The first one is about seeing the difference.
Okay, so this chart is the first chart you see in the back of the book. This is the chart that changed my life, and I know it's hard for you guys to see this, but if you put $2,000 a year into an IRA account, starting at the age of 19, and you just did this until the age of 26, so you never put another dollar away. This is for anybody who's young. What this shows you is that by the time you reach 65 at a 10% rate of return, you'd have over $1 million. Now, the next person, we'll call her, it's Kim. Kim doesn't start at 19, she starts at 27. She puts $2,000 a year away every single year until the age of 65. She's got over $800,000. The amazing thing about this chart is what you realize, the second person does very well, but never catches the first person because they started young. Again, my 15-year-old son, Jack, looked at this chart and went, Dad, I'm 15. How do I get one of these accounts? If I start at 15, I'm going to have probably $2 million, right? I'm like, exactly. So that's just this chart. I got this chart at 26. I worked in the World Trade Center, and I was a financial advisor, and they showed us this chart, and they said, this is how you become financially free. And I did this myself. I opened up an IRA account, then I used my 401k plan, then I used my SEP IRA. That's the miracle of compound interest. Show that chart to any young person. Now, the next chart we're going to show you
It's also about starting early.
is also about starting early. This is probably the simplest chart I could share with anybody that's the most life-changing. This is $10 a day, $300 a month. So again, Latte Factor, $10 a day, $300 a month. Start at 25, 10% rate of return. You've got $1.9 million by the time you retire. Now, if you just wait 10 more years, which is what most people do, most people don't start saving until 35, if they save at 35. Same a dollar amount, now you've only got $684,000. Wait until you're 45, now it's 230. Wait until you're 55, it's super depressing. It's $62,000.
Yeah, my mom just asked me about that. She's 50. Like, what?
So you know, the lesson here is, number one, you want to start early. Like, this is a show for young people. Here's the number one thing that anybody who's 40 or over would say to you if you were walking down the street right now and you asked them one question: what's your biggest financial regret? They would tell you they wish they had started saving and investing when they were young.
Yeah.
Because here's what happens, and you don't believe it when you're 20. You go like this, and you're 50. And my mom's here. My mom's here right in the front, and you go like this, and then you're 70. Right? And the thing is,
She looks great.
What?
Yeah, she needs to write a book.
77!
Yeah.
Give Bobby Bach a round of applause, because my mom, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom. I used to live in San Francisco, and I told my mom I wanted to come to New York and teach millions of people about money. I had a completely secure career at Morgan Stanley, and she said to me, son, spread your wings and fly. And she came all the way out here just to see me do this show.
I love moms.
I love you, Mom. So kids, don't wait. That's the bottom line. Don't wait. Get started. And by the way, if you've waited, it's still not too late, because I get that question too. And there are stories in the Latte Factor where the mentor goes, "Look, it's never too late."
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
But the beauty of the Latte Factor is simplicity. And here's the thing: there's a lot of people these days that are like hating on the Latte Factor, and I just gotta be totally blank and totally candid with everybody. I'm not trying to take your frickin' coffee away, but it's a great example, because you know what? There's 30,000 Starbucks alone. There are more coffee shops now than banks here.
Yep.
And we're
Maybe we
spending.
should invest in that.
You should. Actually, Zoe learns that lesson in the book. She goes to Starbucks, and her mentor says, you know what? If you're not going to give up the coffee, then buy the stock.
Yeah.
And tells her literally, like, if you had bought Starbucks stock when they went public with $1,000, you'd have over $250,000.
Wow.
So your point is exactly right. Invest in what you're using if you don't want to give it up.
Exactly. David, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
You are
This
so
is awesome.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Everyone make sure to pick up a copy of The Latte Factor wherever books are sold. And we'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same table. Bye, guys.